myself. I got a little older and put the bottle back on the shelf. I got a little older, I put away those childish things. I got a little older, girl, I got a little older.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the great beyond, we're here at a track that unfortunately no longer exists in the real life, the USA International Speedway. I believe it's been closed for a few years now, but we do have it in the sim, and we are racing it tonight in the SimPossible Racing League Split Series. Tonight we've got the K&N cars for you on this basically half-mile short track. A nice little facility. Like we said, no longer exists, but you know, it was always one of my favorites when it was actually in operation in Lake Linda, Florida. But either way, AJ Digby on the top of the charts right now with a 19.537 times. They're pretty close up there at the top. The first 3 cars separated by only a few hundredths of a second. Actually, I believe that is actually 1,000ths of a second. So very close field here at the front and really all throughout the field. So
hold on.
That should be a pretty fun race tonight.
Cam, who are you?
Oh yeah, well, yeah, I'm Cameron Rich, and that was Carlos Costa talking, and we are 3Wide TV. We are your broadcasting team for this entire series, but hello everybody. Got kind of carried away with talking about this track because it no longer exists, but you know, I know you've probably raced this track, haven't you, Carlos?
I have raced in this track before, and actually I have one here in the league sanction events. Fortunately, that league doesn't exist anymore, and it was never broadcasted. But that's just my luck, of course. I've never had a chance to actually be in this racetrack at all. I would have loved to have at least seen it once. It's a shame, but that's just the way life is sometimes. I do enjoy driving in this track whenever I do get the rare chance to do that. But Cam, I believe you may have more experience about this track than I do. How would you describe these corners and the way the cars approach them?
It's actually a pretty fast track. You know, it is half a mile, and the straightaways are fairly long for the. Actually, it might be a little bit longer than a half mile. Actually, yes, it is 3/4 of a mile. My apologies there. This is a 3/4 mile track, so that would explain why I was thinking that. But yeah, the straightaways are pretty long. The corners are pretty tight. So it's kind of like Thompson Speedway, if anyone knows what that track is, the famous modified track in Connecticut. Very tight. You want to run the bottom, of course, but you can make passes around that middle line. There is rubber up there, and if you get the right kind of run, you know, you can not only hold off position, but you can actually make moves up there. We'll probably see that tonight with these K&N cars. But this was the site of, I believe, my first iRacing oval race, late models back in probably 2009-ish. So. A bit of a special track for me to be at, just because you know, been on iRacing for 10 years now, so that's pretty cool to know that. But for those of you that are have not been following along with the Split Series, or just want to know, we are on race number, I believe, race number 5 of the series, and we've had 4 different winners in 4 races so far. Billy Wise capturing the win at Daytona, Alan Capers at Milwaukee, AJ Digby at Thompson, where we were at a few weeks ago, and the last race in this series 2 weeks ago at Martinsville was won by Kyle Zimmer, so maybe we can make it 5 for 5 tonight. Of course, top of the charts right now is Kyle Zimmer, excuse me.
not anymore.
It was AJ Digby, because we are starting qualifying right now. And that is the number 7 of Kevin Paskowicz, I believe, on track. He was 4th in practice, the first driver in the 15-6 second bracket, so showing some speed tonight. We'll see where he's able to qualify.
I do apologize.
Going down that back stretch.
Quiet. We're just trying to make sure we have everything set up in here for tonight. I also apologize for me bumping the mic a couple times. It's a bad habit of mine. So, Cam, qualifying here, it's not exactly an easy feat. This is a very fast track, but at the same time, the track is very, very tight. It doesn't take much for you to overshoot it and either spin out or hit the outside wall.
Yes, and especially with the way these corners are, the car likes to unload on the exit, so really the car gets very light, and you know, with these K&N cars, with how they are kind of downforce bodies and you know, the way they are, you can really it might get really loose off the corner. So I think if we're going to see problems tonight, that will be where we see them. There's Fernando Matos on track right now, number 17 machine, sponsored by 3x TV, so a good little plug right there for us up here in the booth. See what kind of lap time he's able to run. Currently quickest right now is David Wilson with a 19.406, first driver in the 4s we've seen this weekend, and he is about 0.2 quicker than anyone else in the field right now. Fernando Matos goes across the line with a 20.007, so he slots into 4th. There's Christopher Burge in, I believe, your favorite car, Carlos, the Rooster Teeth machine.
It's modeled after my 8 car that I run in the 3-year racing league. Got a lot of history with Rooster Teeth and racing in general, but I don't really want to get further too much into it because that would be a conflict of interest. But yeah, Christopher Burge also has a very tendency to be very, very quick. He does have good speed, but he does need to work on his car control and execution of the race. So pardon me for that. So until we can actually complete and finalize the race without getting into too much difficulty, he may have a hard time here tonight at this racetrack, which is already being shown here considering he went really, really wide in 3 and 4.
Yeah, and like we were saying, just wanted to kind of make note of this track. It really is easy to overshoot these corners because this is these straightaways are so long, the corners are so tight, it's almost like a paperclip. It's like a bigger Martinsville with kind of longer straights and bigger turns, so it's very tricky. And you need to be on that yellow line to get the best possible lap time. If you even really half a car length or car width up from that, you can really sacrifice lap time right there. There's AJ Digby, who was, I believe, fastest, or he was one of the fastest cars in practice, so with the same kind of lap time he's able to run. He's coming off turn number 4 right now, right across the line. He goes second, 50/100ths slower than our current pole sitter, Dave Wilson. So those 2 cars are the only ones in the 4 second, or in the 19.4 second range right now. So both of those cars coming out here with a lot of speed tonight. Got about 2 minutes left in qualifying, a minute and a half. There's some trouble for the number, who was that?
He was just wrapping it up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Zimmer. He was just wrapping it up as we have just over a minute left to go in qualifying. We are not seeing anybody else on track. The only 2 drivers who have yet to post a qualifying lap is the Ford Nicotella and the 66 of Brian Lohead. As surprisingly, we were able to see a 17 of Fernando Matos be able to actually get a lap time in, considering he didn't practice at all during practice due to him having a couple issues getting the everything set up for tonight, as well as getting himself a spotter or getting himself in a position where a spotter could join him. So glad to see Fernando Matos got that either wrapped up or fixed, or to the point where he can continue racing without having issues. Just 11 drivers on the field. If everybody does take green, should be a small field, but all these drivers here are dedicated and actually capable of winning the race. Not much to say about other leagues who are able to do the same thing, but I expect this to be not necessarily a caution-filled race, but I expect it to be a very competitive race, and a lot of people are going to be bumping and grinding off each other.
Absolutely, and we are actually concluding qualifying right now in just about 10 seconds, so I do believe we can go ahead and give Dave Wilson the pole award for tonight's race. And Dave Wilson making his comeback just a few weeks ago, I believe in one of the truck races we had. So good to see him back after his extended break for school. So definitely come back with a lot of speed. Did not lose anything over that break. But we're going to go ahead and get your grid situated here real quick as this pace car kind of flips on and off the track. I'm not sure what he's doing? There he is, finally on the track solidly, as well as everybody else. Dave Wilson in a bit of a different car than we usually see him in, that Exalta machine. Pretty cool to see that.
Go ahead and start with the grid. In first place, we have the 20th David Wilson with AJ Digby qualifying in second. In third place, we have Kyle Zimmer with Billy Wise in fourth. Fifth place will be Kevin Paskowicz with Alan Capers in sixth place. Cam, take it away.
In seventh, we got the number 17, personal favorite number of mine, of Fernando Matos, and to his outside, we have Christopher Burge in that Rooster Teeth machine. The last qualifier of the night, Johnny Berardi in number 99, and then he's going to be starting next to Nate Catilla in the 4 car. The last 2 cars, we have Craig Covington, a very late entry to the race, and Brian Lowhead, the perennial non-qualifier, definitely will not stay there for too much longer. But this is going to be a pretty fun race. I'm a personal fan of short track racing. I was at Langley Speedway just a few days ago watching Cars Tour, so short tracks are my foray. I love watching the beating and banging that comes along with short track racing and the close quarters, everything. So it's going to be a pretty fun night tonight.
Now, Cam, you had a small interaction in here earlier today with 17 of Fernando Matos on Twitter. Last night, you took home the checkers in the Three Head Racing League Unreal Tour at Montreal. And Fernando's saying, you know, if you won yesterday, maybe it's his time to shine.
Well, like you said, Carlos, I think anyone in this field has a shot win. Of course, we are going on 4 different winners out of 4 races, and definitely think we can probably make it 5 tonight. And one of those drivers who has not won in this series yet is on the pole right now, that 20 of Dave Wilson. So definitely think the chances are pretty good of that. One driver a bit slow away from the grid is number 13 of Alan Capers. We already have some damage for one car. The number 98 has some rear end damage. See if we can get a shot of that real quick. But
does
definitely...
he? Oh yeah, he does.
So not sure what happened there, but that's not the way you want to start off here. Of course, these drivers do all have 4 fast repairs, but you don't want to start the race with damage. But I think that damage is not very bad enough, and really aero is not that important here at a track like this, so I think he should be alright. Might not even need to take a fast repair for that one, but 2 pace laps here for a short track, and we're passing the start-finish line right now. You see it right there, that flag man. Nice little Hooters branding on there, showing how this used to be one of the staples of the Hooters Pro Cup back in the day. And if anyone remembers that, go ahead and shoot a message in the comments, because you are very old, as well as I am. I remember watching that when I got to school on the old Speed channel.
Alright, for those not familiar with the sporting world, today is Game 5 of the NBA Finals, and also currently the Cup Series is racing. Clint Boyer just wrecked, and Austin Dillon pounded the outside wall, so they're under caution at the moment.
And we're going through turns number 3 and 4, about to get set underway here for 125 laps of this non-existent track anymore. Field in the hands of that number 20 of Dave Wilson. He is your pulse hitter, and everybody on the gas hard right now. Looks like a good start for everyone. We're going to be side by side into turn 1 with 14 of AJ Digby and the 20 of Dave Wilson at the front. We'll see if AJ can get ooh, trouble! The leader has wrecked, and Dave Wilson already in trouble. He spun out off of turn 4, and I think that was what I was just talking about a minute ago, Carlos. The car gets very light off these corners, and we've already seen some trouble here early in the going.
Now this is something I actually saw earlier on the group chat that these drivers have, but I forgot to mention it until the moment I saw the 20 car spin out. I mentioned that Jeff, the league organizer and head admin, mentioned that when he was practicing with the setup, he noticed that the cars were incredibly loose. It would take a very, very precise throttle to be able to be really fast, and we saw here it already bit the 20.
Yeah, and these cars, unlike the trucks that we race on Monday, as well as the Xfinity cars that are on Wednesdays, these do not have any of the little aero bits on them to keep these cars from spinning. So once you get the car sideways, really, you don't have any force keeping you going straight. So it really will whip around in a hurry, and you really, once you get it past a certain point, there is absolutely no saving the car. And I think you saw it, the way that car whipped around. Dave really had no chance to save it.
It's true. It's a real shame for the 20, but on the bright side for him, it was literally lap 1 actually. He is going to be able to recover from this without any issues as soon as I can find it. This track does not have a very suitable pit road camera, so I do apologize for that. Our cameras usually are provided by SimTV, but unfortunately SimTV does not have a track cam package for this track. So we do actually are still using their cameras for the race vehicles, but not for the track itself. So either way, so thank you so much to the fine folks at SimTV for allowing us to use their cameras, and also to Thomas Morris from OCR TV for doing a fantastic job with this graphics package.
And of course, after that, the trouble for our pole sitter Dave Wilson, that did give the lead to AJ Digby, who was actually on the outside of him on Dave's quarter panel. So we did see that higher line on the racetrack able to actually hold for a little bit. There's not really much green flag racing to speak of just yet. We only had 2 corners of it, but I think that'll be something to look forward for the rest of the race. I think we should be getting the 1 to go this time by, and you know, a short caution's always a plus. We don't like these long cautions because we want to see more green flag racing.
That's true. On the bright side, we do have a chance to actually partake in the first ever broadcast on our end of the green white checkers if there would be a caution within less than 5 to go, for example. We had the chance to do it the last race on Wednesday, but these drivers were fantastic. There was, unless I was incorrect, there was no yellows at all. There was a completely green race, and we didn't get a chance to watch it. So today is actually a good chance for us to see how the green white checkers are affected in iRacing.
Absolutely, and we might see that later on in this race, but that will remain to be seen. Pace car is off, field in the hands of AJ Digby. He is your current first place driver, and a good start for everybody else in the field. These 2 drivers of Kyle Zimmer and AJ Digby going to be side by side through turns 1 and 2. We'll see if AJ on that low side doesn't get the same trouble as we saw Dave Wilson. Looks like he was good off turn number 2. We were on board with him for just a moment, but look at on that outside line. Kyle Zimmer is hanging tough, getting that good momentum around the outside, and then AJ was able to clear him right there. Looking from the back of him, you see that Allied machine right behind him. Very close racing up here for the top 2. Looks like AJ has a little bit of damage on that right front.
Yes, that was from when up from the 20 went around. He did make some contact there as he was turning. Other than that, at this small of a distance and speed, it's not going to be a factor. I believe 100% that has just got to be cosmetic damage.
Ooh, trouble for the 7. He made a move under Billy Wise in turn 1. He's in the inside wall. He was able to get it going straight again, but definitely lost there. See if we can get a replay on that one, because that was
maybe a little bit more than cosmetic damage.
Yeah, he made a move on Billy Wise going into turn 1 here. You can see him make the move out on the inside right there, and just lost the car. And really, like we said, once you get the car a little bit sideways here, there's really not much chance to save it. So you really have to take care to use that throttle carefully, use the brakes carefully. We have a car going a lap down already. That's Johnny Berardi getting passed by the leader, AJ Digby. He's way up the racetrack, letting everybody by. So good for that. And your current top 5 right now: AJ Digby, Kyle Zimmer, Billy Wise, Fernando Matos, and Chris Roberge early on in this going. We're 10 laps away, so about 115 laps to go, which will go by in a hurry if we're able to go green here at this short racetrack. We're running sub 20-second lap times for most of the field.
There was mention of some races being cut a little bit on laps due to how these drivers have been lapping certain tracks along the races that they're going. So there are going to be a couple of tracks that are going to have a couple less laps than was originally scheduled for. I believe this one was cut slightly. It was either cut slightly or there was an accident. Oh, the caution is out. I think it's
the caution was actually done by race control, so we'll have to see what happened there. But you might be right; it might be the 7 car. That 7 car has a lot of damage on it in the rear, so he must have gone around somewhere. You see right here in turn. This is the turn 1 and 2 end of the racetrack right now, and yeah, it just looks like he got a. Oh, yeah. There's the number 4 of Nate Catilla getting on top of him and upside down. So. What in the world happened there, Carlos?
I don't know. It, like the animal, just like the Viper, it just came out of nowhere and attacked the 7. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, that was definitely. definitely not something you want to see a race car coming up the racetrack like that. So that's absolutely crazy. But not something you definitely usually see at a racetrack like this. But it looks like Mankatilla got in some trouble there on the backstretch, and oh my God, just absolute worst timing for Kevin Pascowicz to be right there.
Kind of reminds me of I want to say 2010, 2011 at Darlington when I believe it was AJ Allmendinger at the time in the 43 broke something or whatever happened in Darlington and just went all the way to the inside and went all the way back to the outside and took out Jimmy Johnson, who had literally nothing to do with that incident.
Yeah, that's kind of like a driver's worst nightmare when a wreck happens in front of you. You just really want them to not be there when you get there, and unfortunately, most of the time they are, and especially on a track like this, which is not, I'm not going to say it's narrow, it is actually quite wide, but just the racing groove, not super narrow, not super wide, so it's something that can definitely happen. And
you know,
the walls on the
Dover
backstretch.
Dover is also pretty wide, but in the grand scheme of things, it's very narrow. That did not go the way I expected it to. I expected you to come up with something to say as well, but the awkward silence made me realize that it probably didn't apply.
Well, we're all about awkward silences up here in the 3-wide TV booth, though, you know, not sure where I was going with that one either, but either way. AJ Digby still your leader, followed by Kyle Zimmer. I believe the pace car lights are
Still
off. Still on, okay, yeah. Up from where I was in the spotter stand looking, it looked like they weren't on, but they obviously are. So either way, working lap 16 here. So really, this race is going just about how we expected it to go. Really a couple cautions here and there, but it actually has been a lot. It's actually been pretty green so far.
I do expect that once these drivers can get a couple more laps in and get a feel for how these tires go, especially after the first couple laps, they're gonna go on the I would call it like at least a somewhat decent green flag run. In my experience and from the data I've gathered around we are 1-2 right now, the harder it is for somebody to race in a racetrack, just the harder it is to keep the car not wrecked, the longer it tends to go green, because everybody tends to battle themselves and keeping themselves in a position where they can race and beat it at the end, as opposed to being overconfident and wrecking because they thought they could go in a corner at a certain speed.
Absolutely, and that's why we've seen a lot of caution-free or low caution races at Darlington and Rockingham and tracks like that. They're actually very tough, and but pace car is off. Field once again in the hands of AJ Digby. He has led from lap number 1 after Dave Wilson had his issues. But a good start on the outside for Kyle Zimmer. He's actually going to beat AJ Digby to turn number 1. We'll see if he can hold that around the outside of those two corners. They're followed closely by Billy Wise. And there's a 17 of Fernando Matos, who's made his way up to 4th, but he's going for 3rd. So 2 side-by-side battles for the first 2 rows between AJ Digby and Kyle Zimmer. Kyle Zimmer actually got shoved out of the groove a little bit there. Here comes Billy Wise looking for 2nd place.
I don't know.
Now still battling for 2nd.
I don't know if it was just the way that 25 entered the corner or was the approach. But that last lap he went really, really wide in turn 3, and it cost him a chance to battle for the lead. And caution is out once again. We're seeing the 66 of Low had turned around.
Yeah, he's able to get it going again. Kind of smacked the wall a little bit after the issues, but we'll see what happened here on the replay. It's like he was quite a bit behind the field, so had some issues there, and just exactly what we saw with Dave Wilson, I believe. Just kind of lost the car in the exit of the corner. So I think I think we are definitely seeing that be one of the key factors of tonight. Just not over exact. I don't know what kind of word I'm looking for there. Not over-gunning it on the exit of the corner.
Yeah, no, you're right, yeah. You don't want to go too hard. Save some tires for the end. I believe we're seeing the 13 of Adam Capers go down pit road. Of course, the 66 of Lowhead. 2 drivers we wouldn't expect to go down pit road. Top 10 is on the lead lap. Johnny Berardi, the last place driver, is currently 3 laps down, but he should be getting at least 1 lap back because of the letdown.
I don't believe any of our front runners have taken a pit stop yet. Of course, we should be good on I say that, but we do have run 60% fuel in this league, so I'm not sure if we'll actually be good on fuel or not. If
Well,
we were
we saw what
100%, we would
happened
be
Monday.
more than good.
Last Monday was a shocker of a race. We did not expect the winner to finish where they did, and we expected the person who we would have thought to finish to win the race. I'm going to go back on that one. The person we thought was going to win did not finish where we thought he was, and the winner came out of nowhere. All because of a very rare fuel strategy gone wrong for most of these drivers.
Did I hear that right? Did you say that we did not expect Winner to finish where he did?
Yeah, no, that's why I said.
Something.
That's why I said let me go back, and that's why I went back and re-corrected myself.
It's okay. We know here that words are hard and numbers are actually harder. So we're not gonna go ahead and kid ourselves about that.
We have a comment on YouTube asking a question. Matt, hi Matt. Glad you can join us tonight. This is the Split Series, which is 2 series that's run on Mondays. The Truck Series and the K&N Series that we're watching here. The K&N Series are always running on short tracks. They're running on smaller tracks. And the Truck Series are running on larger tracks. So that should answer your question. For the K&N Series, it will be in the short track.
Yes, indeed, and that's why I'm a fan of this series. You always have something different every other week. So, if you get tired of short tracks, just wait a week, and you'll have trucks on a bigger track. And if you get tired of the bigger tracks, just wait another week, and you'll have K&N cars on a shorter track. So, never gets tiring.
So, Cam, with these 2 series, it is not combined into one. We do have 2 separate point standings. And Cam, why don't you go ahead and read the current point standings for the K&N Series? It should be a kind of a shouldn't have changed up too much from the last race, but let's go ahead and we can get it this time by if you are ready.
Yeah, I got them right here, and we actually have a tie for the points lead between Alan Capers and Kyle Zimmer. And 3 points back, we have Billy Wise in the 3rd position, and 5 behind the leader. 8 behind the leader. We have Kevin Pasquich, Christopher 9 behind the leader. And Fernando Matos in 6th, Brian Lowe at 7th, Nathan Catilla 8th, Johnny Berardi 9th, and AJ Digby is in 10th. Missed a race, I believe. So
Alan
the
Capers,
points from
probably does not want to finish this race 9th, considering that Kyle Zimmer is 2nd.
Yeah, absolutely, and from 1st to 10th is only 50 points from all the way, so a very close battle up here. And that driver in 10th is AJ Digby. He's also right at the front of the field right now, leading laps and doing all he can to claw some points back. The green flag is out once again. A good start on the outside for Kyle Zimmer. And really, we've seen the outside line be really good on these restarts, getting going again very well. But AJ Digby having the inside line, got a little bit loose off turn number 2, but was able to hold it. And Kyle Zimmer right there still holding tough on that high side, but shoves up the track a little bit in turns 3 and 4. Make a bit of a crossover. He's going to go low on AJ, but not able to do anything just yet. And Chris Burge actually have to make his way up to the 3rd position. He's right behind Kyle Zimmer right now. And trouble for Zimmer. He did exactly what Dave Wilson did.
I don't know about
off
that.
Turn 2.
I think he may have had some help there, but let's go ahead and take a look at the replay and see what happens.
And we'll check the replay. I don't think there was help there, but we'll go ahead and check here. We'll look from the back of Kyle Zimmer. He's going through 1 and 2 right now. And
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, just lost it. Looks like turn 2 is absolute calamity corner tonight. That's where we've seen really all of the issues. Have not seen anything on the front stretch yet. So really, I thought that turns 2 and 4 would be an issue, but it seems like the turn 2 is the bad one.
It's a little bit too much beans there. The 25 actually did make an announcement on Twitter regarding his status for the current team that he is participating in. We'll see if we can pull that up in a couple of moments. I actually had the papers, but my dog ate it. As we're saying that we have a couple of drivers going down Pier Road. We actually have a bunch of drivers going down Pier Road. The top 4 did stay out. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a quick glimpse as who's in Pier Road. We see the 20, we see the 14, the 32, the 25, who of course spun out, so he's going to want to come in. 14 is going to exit Pier Road first, so he'll be coming out and restarting the race in 5th place. Followed by the 20, the 32, seeing, I believe, a couple of drivers overshot his stall. There's the 4, and there is the 66. So a couple of things to actually note here as I get the feeling that I think Fernando Matos is currently the race leader because Christopher Birch stayed out to lead a lap and then went down pit road. Speaking of Christopher Birch, Matt. Hi, Matt. Matt replied again saying that he was sent over, he was introduced to the league by Christopher Birch. He does, Matt's described as a person who does a bunch of raps. Matt, I hope you're not jealous. I did design the current scheme that Christopher Birch is doing as well as what Fernando is running. So glad you could join us. Matt is also showing interest. If you're free one day, come check it out. We have a bunch of fun here. This is a chill league. Bunch of these drivers just come in here to have fun. Doesn't really matter where they finish. Of course, they're going to want to go for the win if they can, but if they don't, they'll be a little bit disappointed, but in the end, they're going to move on. Cam, go ahead and take over as I try to see if I can find the announcement that the 25 of Kyle Zimmer announced this week.
Absolutely, and your first driver off pit road was AJ Digby. He's going to be lined up in the 4th position, followed by Dave Wilson, as well as the rest of the field. Billy Wise coming off in 3rd. Nate Catilla able to rebound from his earlier flip overs and pirouettes on the backstretch. He's now going to be he was the 4th car off pit road. He's going to be lining up in the 7th position. Kyle Zimmer, who just caused a caution, giving some trouble off turn 2 behind him. Christopher Birch going to be lining up behind Kyle, of course, staying out to lead a lap and coming down pit road. Pace car lights are off. We're going to be going green here in just a moment. Like you said, Fernando Matos is your current leader. Kevin Pasquich, who we haven't talked a lot about tonight, was fast in practice, but not able to really show his muscle yet at the front. And green flag is out. Good start for both of those two drivers at the front. Looks like Kevin Pasquich actually going to beat the 17 to turn 1. We'll see if he can hold the momentum around the outside line. Fernando is fighting back tough on the bottom, but I think Kevin Pasquich now has the advantage. He's going to clear the 17 into turn number 3, running that outside line. Here comes AJ Digby, who came down pit road last time. He's going to try to follow Kevin Pasquich through as well, and I believe he is on the outside line as well. Trouble for the 13. He's sideways in turns 1 and 2, and actually saves it with the help of Kyle's front end. And some trouble in the back. There's Johnny Berardi and Nate Catilla getting in a gruesome accident on another flip for Nate Catilla in this race. I'm sure he's not a fan of this track as of yet, but I think this was caused by this. We saw Alan Capers get in trouble in turns 1 and 2, and just blindsided right there for Nate Catilla. Really nothing he could do there. Just the 99 got in trouble and really hit him in the quarter panel and absolutely killed him.
2 separate incidents. Well, maybe not 2 separate incidents, but the 13 had fully recovered by that point. Unfortunately, the checkup that was caused by them caused the 4 and the 99 to get together.
And that is going to be a big hamper to Nate Catilla's race. He's going to be at least a few laps down now, taking a tow because he did end up on his roof. I believe Johnny Berardi also having to take a tow as well. Actually, no, he looks like he was able to get going again, but he is a lap down as well. So
Johnny Berardi has gone from 3 laps down to 1 lap down.
Yeah, so that was my mistake there. He did not actually lose a lap on the caution, but is damaged nonetheless, and he's going to take a fast repair. See that right now. Nate Catilla is still staying on pit road. So either way, Kevin Pasquich, have not talked a lot about him all race. He was fast in practice, was fastest for most of the session, being nipped at the end by, I believe, the 25 Kyle Zimmer. But Kevin Pasquich able to, and I believe he actually he's won on the truck side. He's not able to get a win on this side of the series just yet, but your top 2 right now of Fernando Matos and Kevin Pasquich, neither driver having won just yet.
Currently, the only driver that has yet to go out on pit road is the 17 of Fernando Matos, who is finding himself in 2nd place. That's a good job. Now, going back to the announcement that Kyle Zimmer made in the beginning of the week yesterday, he teased that he was going to be bringing back a team that he used to run back in his console days, and that team is none other than ProTouch Racing. I really hope I said that correctly. So he gave ownership of ProTouch Racing to his friend when Kyle Zimmer transitioned over to iRacing, and now ProTouch Racing is coming to iRacing. So starting on Mondays, which is today, he'll be running for ProTouch and no longer running for Rebel Racing. I do not know if this is both for the K&N series and the truck series, or one or the other, but that's according to what he wrote. He has shared his scheme, which is a truck scheme, so at least for sure he'll be running for his own team in the truck series. The scheme he's currently running is a scheme that has over racing insignias on it, but that could be a training pins issue that you have seen in the past. So congratulations to Kyle Zimmer bringing back his own race team. It's always a pleasure to run for yourself. Happy for you, and I hope that this brings you a lot of good luck. As we are one to green.
And we'll see how that 17 of Fernando Matos is able to hold on that outside line on the restart. We've seen that line be very strong, getting going on the straightaway, and able to hold tough through 1 and 2. And like you said, Carlos, Fernando was actually communicating with me on Twitter after the win, saying that he hopes he can bring the 17 to victory lane like it happened last night. So, good luck to you, Fernando. I hope you can go ahead and do it. I'm a fan of that number, obviously, so go ahead and bring that to victory lane if you can. But pace car is off. We are going green right now. You see that flagman waving the green flag, and looks like Kevin Pascowicz on the inside line for the first time this race. Maybe got a better restart than the outside line, but Fernando Matos on the outside line holding tough for a moment there. He's going to be under fire from AJ Digby. I believe that AJ is going to use those new tires to his advantage and be able to get around Fernando. But Kevin Pascowicz doing a good job to kind of pull away right now, and almost some contact there between Fernando and AJ, but AJ was able to get away from him and move him up to second place, Carlos.
That's true. So far, Kevin Pascowicz is pulling away, but now that AJ Digby has gone single file, he is starting to slowly catch up, especially in the entry of the corner. That's where we're seeing AJ Digby just outbreak everybody and gained a couple of tenths. Carlings right there, you see it again. The entry, he is driving in there like a championship contender. Kevin Pascowicz, the most he can do right now is just hold on to his car, hold on to his line, hold on to the position. He is aware, and I hope he's aware that the 14 has a faster truck, but if the 14 can't get by him, as caution is out, and
Billy Wise.
32, yes. Let's go ahead and take a look at replay and see what we can find.
Some damage on the back of that car, so obviously made contact with the wall or something. There he's racing with Chris Roberge, and I don't think, it looks like some netcode there with the 13 of Alan Capers.
It looks like 32 and 98 made contact in the middle of the corner, and that checked up to 32, and that's where the 13 got in right behind him. Give him a little bump. It wasn't on purpose because it was a huge checkup, but that wasn't enough of a bump to get him loose and sideways.
Yeah, you saw him on the outside of that 98. He pulled right down on the 98's right rear quarter and just kind of upset his car a little bit, then got bumped from behind by the 13. Really no physical contact I saw. Looked like a bit of netcode there, so that's something you got to expect on iRacing. Some drivers on pit road here. 20 of Dave Wilson, as well as the 7 of Kevin Pascowicz electing to come down pit road. Like you said, Fernando Matos electing to stay out for the time being still, even with him already being passed by the 14 of Digby. And you got to think that really it's not going to get any better for Fernando with those old tires. Of course, you can't really overcome that difference with Digby's tires. But either way, he still is second, so track position is pretty good here, and he knows better than we do.
Now, you mentioned the 17 ended up winning the race yesterday, and there was mention of the 17 today with Fernando Matos and yourself. There was also a tweeted picture of the 17, at least 2 tweeted pictures today. One from 3Wide, the other one from a random person. I don't know if that brought back some memories, especially since 3Wide will be moving on from the Ford Fusion and moving on to the Ford Mustang. A little consolidation about reminiscing about the past with the Ford Fusions, and a couple tweets were thrown out, some with the 17. A couple happy memories for you, right, Cam?
Yeah, I seem to remember a certain Chevrolet getting into me at turn 2 of the certain track in South Florida that I can't remember what the name of that was. I can't remember the driver either, but either way, good memories there. That was a good party that night.
That was definitely a race to remember.
Yeah, I think I know that guy who got into me, and I think I I know that racetrack pretty well at this point.
Oh yeah, that was a fun race, man. I was incredibly happy when that happened. I was definitely not at all incredibly sad and annoyed at myself and just embarrassed. Quick announcement from league organizer Jeff Schmidt. Give me a moment because I have to read it because I'm blind. Oh yes, he's saying that Johnny was able to get the majority of his laps back because earlier when he was stuck 3 laps down, he was stuck 3 laps down because he got stuck to the wall. So race control throwing the 99 a bone and helping him get caught up at least to 1 lap down. I'm not sure if he got all the way back and then got set a lap down. But this just enforces what this league is. It's a league for disabled drivers only, and a place for them to have fun, relax, and just forget about the stresses of life, have fun, and not be judged.
Absolutely, and definitely it's more of a friendship than a league, or it's a friendship first, a bunch of friends just kind of racing each other, and definitely competitive, but not super competitive like, of course, end pass or something like that. Green flag is out, and looks like Fernando actually beat AJ Digby in the line. We'll see if he's throwing a black flag for that or not. I don't believe he should, but holding tough on that outside line, extremely, almost actually had the better of AJ through 1 and 2, but excuse me, AJ able to clear Fernando going into turn number 3.
AJ Digby has a very, very fast car and almost a truck for some reason, which is strange because we usually confuse trucks with cars, not the other way around. He's pulling away, especially what we saw earlier in the race when he's just driving it in there so deep. He's able to drive it in there deep and get a really good exit as either the 17 got loose or the 98 got loose. One of them got loose due to what I saw. I couldn't really tell. As they're both battling side by side as the 32 goes sideways, so is that going to bring out a caution? Maybe?
No, he saved it. Down. Wow.
Let's go back. See what happens.
And we have to emphasize how incredibly hard it is to save that car when you're that sideways, because like we said, none of the aero bits that the other cars have to keep you straight. So, some contact with the 7 of Pascovic, I believe, and both of those cars got sideways.
No caution on that end. Caution is out now.
As we say that.
That's a shame for the 66 of Lowhead. He may actually be stuck there.
Nah, he looks like he's good. I believe this is turn 1. You saw it right there. Have some trouble off turn number 2 again. Yes, it was. Turn 2, biting him again, actually. We already saw him have trouble off turn number 2, so coming to rest on the backstretch. Not able to get going. He's going to lose a lap under caution, so not very good for him.
This is a very tough track that we mentioned, especially the setup was also already mentioned to be a very loose setup. So these drivers do have to be careful in how they approach the cars and how they approach the track and the driving style. 66 having a couple of difficulty adjusting to it. But he's a lap down right now, but there's only 2 drivers 1 lap down. Johnny Berardi in the 9 and the 66 of Brian Lowhead. Nick Catella in the 11th is 3 laps down at the moment. And the further away this race gets from to halfway, then it's or the closer the race gets to halfway, the harder it's going to be for Nick Catella to get out of there and get himself in a winning position. Nick Catella definitely has the speed and the skill to win a race. He just needs to get some of the bad luck and some of the consistency under his belt to get in a position to actually win.
Absolutely, and we actually did see him win a race this season in the was it the B car, I believe, at Vegas? Yeah, it was. So
let's say yes.
So definitely showing that he can get the job done. Just like you said, needs to get the consistency and get those mistakes and bad luck out of the way. And we saw what happens when you can put it all together for a race. Definitely coming home with a win. And one driver, speaking of bad luck, right there, AJ Digby. It's kind of a meme at this point. His bad luck in this league, kind of legendary. Of course, happens all sorts of issues here and there and everywhere, but seems to have overcome most of it. Of course, for tonight, leading the race and really showing the pace for the most part. But he is a driver that has had his share of star-crossed moments in the league, but I believe, like I just said, he's gotten over most of it. So hopefully, no more bad luck for him.
Fernando Matos has finally gone down pit road, which means at lap 52, every single driver in the race has gone down pit road at least once.
One driver who has made his way back up to the front is that number 20 of Dave Wilson on the outside of AJ Digby right now. Of course, we saw him spin out on lap number 1 out of turn 2. He was the first driver to do so, and has taken him 51 laps to get back up to the front, but he has done it. So we'll see if these two drivers, AJ Digby and Dave Wilson, can put on a show. Of course, both drivers very fast. That is your 1 and 2 starters of the night, so I do believe that will be a good battle for the rest of the race if they can stay near each other.
I want to see how these drivers react to old tires in the long run. So hopefully we can go a couple laps and get some heat in the tires and see how the drivers react. That being said, this race is still going by fairly quickly, even with the amount of cautions we've had, as we're only on to turn 34.
Pace car pulling off right now, and we're going to see how Dave Wilson, that 20 on the outside, can get going. If we've seen that outside line be very good on these restarts, but it looks like both drivers able to get away well. AJ Digby and Dave Wilson. We'll see who has the advantage out of turn number 2. Dave Wilson holding tough on the outside line. Actually, almost was able to get the better of AJ Digby, but is still there on his outside. And caution once again.
32.
It's like Billy Wise. Again, so he got in some trouble again, as well as Alan Capers, a little bit ahead of him. We'll see what happened here on the replay. Yeah, Alan Capers in trouble off turn number 2, and nowhere for Billy Wise to go. Got in the wall pretty hard there, so
I think he also got hit by somebody else after that, because the moment the camera cut away, I heard contact noise. So let's see if he also got hit by somebody right at the very, very end. Oh, yeah, that's a 99. Berardi, that's heavy damage for Berardi. Well, actually, that should be heavier damage for Berardi. I barely can see anything there.
And another side effect of that happening is that Johnny Berardi would have been the lucky dog if that did not happen, and now he's not going to be the lucky dog. So it's unfortunate for both drivers, of course, for Alan Capers for getting the damage, and Johnny Berardi for not being able to get his lap back.
It's a real shame. Let's go ahead and take a couple moments and take a look at how the manufacturers are settling in for the race. Wow, it's a fantastic day for Chevrolet.
Yeah, really good day. They have swapped 11 spots for the race, and you got to think that really the rest of the manufacturers have to step up their game. And of course, if you don't know what we're talking about, these are all Chevrolets, and they will always be Chevrolets because this car is a Chevrolet. So
now, if you're wondering, wow, these are all Chevrolets, but for example, the Ford Nicotilla, that's a Dodge Viper. Well, you are correct. That's a Dodge Viper with Chevrolet taillights. No. The way that this league, quote-unquote, series determines what manufacturer it is based on the engine. So every engine here is a Chevrolet engine, but the bodies can be different.
And that Ford Nicotilla is, of course, you might see that and think, hey, I've seen that car before. That's Bill Elliott's car from the 2003 Brickyard 400, one of my personal favorites. That was an awesome car. And if we can look at the front of that number 4, it might have the Venom headlights. And yes, it does. So that is such a cool car, and really cool to see that out here tonight. And of course, he's driven that car all season, so it is something that is just really cool.
You're about to
on the flip side.
Go on.
On the flip side, number 7 of Pasquich does not have any headlights on the car whatsoever, so very old school looking right there.
Yeah, it's actually like an inverse type of old school, because back in the day, in the 90s, they had the outlines for the headlights, or they actually had the headlight stickers on, but they had no taillight stickers. It was just flat back then. This is the opposite. They have the taillight stickers, but they have no headlights.
Yeah, of course, those those taillight stickers are stamped by Harrison. You can go ahead and take
Pretty
these off,
strange.
please.
Yeah, you can take off the headlights, but you can't take off the taillights. So I don't know what's going on there, and it's not like it's a glitch because this is a present thing on the last build, and it's still here on this new build. A couple changes to the new build. Something that hasn't changed though is the tire model. We are still on the same version 6 tire model. Version 7, I believe the Skippies are on version 7, and they have been improved this build from what I've been hearing, but no news on mass availability to the other race cars.
Yeah, and I believe the new damage model is coming later in the year as well, so that's pretty cool news from iRacing. Yeah, so we'll see if that's able to happen, but this car is off. We'll see how these two at the front can get going again. Dave Wilson gets a very good restart on that outside line once again, and he actually beats AJ to turn 1, but AJ has that inside line advantage. But here comes Dave Wilson. He got a good run through 1 and 2. He's got a fantastic run down the bad stretch. See if he can clear the 14 into turn 3. No, he cannot, but he gets a good run through the center. Look at that, but he gets shoved up the racetrack a little bit, and that's going to give the lead back to AJ Digby. So both of these drivers very tough right now. And look right there, right behind Dave Wilson at number 25 of Kyle Zimmer. Of course, never count him out at any racetrack. He's a very fast driver. He's actually looking for 2nd place right now.
Oh!
Ooh, gets sideways, and as I was saying that, but saves it. Fantastic save by Kyle Zimmer. Still fighting the car off turn number 4, but is able to keep it going. We're still green here at USA, and just you see how treacherous that inside line is off these corners. Really, you have to make your passes into the corner, because off the corner, if you're side by side, it really gets tough. And we've seen that all night tonight. There's a battle here between Christopher Burge, and I believe that's the 17 of Fernando Matos for the 5th position. Fernando Matos has taken it away from Christopher Burge, and now Chris under fire from Billy Wise. We've seen him in a few accidents tonight, but still kicking out there, still going at it, looking for the 6th place for himself. Ooh, Billy Wise sideways.
32 got loose or something happens. We'll take a look back and see what happens. I think he may have made some contact. I'm not sure. Just smelling his onboard, he was dead sideways. Let's see what exactly happened. No, he just got loose. A little bit too much brakes, overcorrected it, but ended up doing a pretty good job of saving it. That being said, he did make some contact with 13, but considering that's not a caution, that's a pretty good job.
Back here up at the front, that number 20 of Dave Wilson is just ever so slightly faster than the AJ Digby. And of course they are mirroring lap times by just a little bit, but that 20 is just ever so slightly faster lap after lap. So you can see the gap visibly closing just a little bit, and really you got to think that you will catch him in due time. But of course in racing, catching is one thing, passing is a totally different thing. So if he gets there, he's going to have to find a way around AJ if he wants to get to the lead.
Now, how would you go about approaching this and trying to make the pass for the lead? How would you? Oh,
well, I do exactly what he's doing right now. Wait for AJ to make a mistake and do it right there. There's an easy way to do that, but you saw AJ get tight off turn number 2.
I think it's the first time we've seen the 14 make a mistake all race.
Yeah, so either those tires have gone away or something happened, but he definitely clawed that wall pretty hard. There must be some significant amount of damage on that 14. He's actually still getting tied up turn number 2, so he needs to back up his corner just a little bit in the center, I believe, and just kind of let the car roll a little bit longer so that doesn't happen. But either way, that did move Dave Wilson back to the lead. That's where he started the race, and we have a caution once again.
Kevin Paskowicz.
He is around on the front stretch, so we'll have to see what happened here on the replay. Here's a little nice little intro for you to watch.
A little bit too much entering the corner. Too much rear brakes. Oh, 17 got some mistake damage.
And Matt Rex started in turn 3 and lasted all the way through the front stretch, so that he was fighting that car for all it was worth, all through turns 3 and 4.
Entering pit road to 20. The leaders are going down pit road. Let's see if anybody decides to stay out. 13 of Adam Camper stayed out. He's actually going to lead the lap there.
Yeah, it looks like a few drivers electing to stay out.
Yeah, we're seeing 313 of 32 in the 66. All decided to stay out. Let's see if anybody overshoots their pit stall. Not really seeing anybody overshoot it. Everybody nice and smooth into their stall. I believe the 20 will be out first. Maybe the 14 might be able to get something. 14 exits. Looks like the 20 just took a little bit too much time going down and entering his stall.
See the rest of the field coming out right now, and so that leaves the 32 of Billy Wise, I believe, the only driver to. And we'll see if he elects to stay out.
Oh no, 13 is also on pit road. I apologize. "73 laps into this race. We are almost halfway. How would you describe who do you think has the car to win here tonight?"
Well, really, the 14. I think it's right now between the 14 and the 20. But I hope you're going the opposite direction of halfway. We passed halfway on lap 63, so we're 10 laps past that. Yes, sir. And Billy Wise now coming down the road. So we are on the tail end of this race, and really have about 50 laps to go on the restart, I believe.
I thought 75 plus 75 was 25 or 30. Yeah, it
that
isn't
is 150,
because
sir.
It would be 150. Yes. I like to go ahead and mention the fact that I'm not a math major. I actually failed math at the time in college because I struggled with the letters. I was doing pretty good in numbers. I was fine in math, and then they started adding imaginary numbers, which I understand. I understand how imaginary numbers work. And then I just gave up. I was like, okay, I can't. No. I stopped with imaginary numbers. I know how they work and I like them, but it's not for me.
Laps and engineer over here.
Although I do know that Santa Claus multiplied by I makes a wheel.
That is very true. A revelation up here from the 3xTV booth.
Send me your favorite math-related jokes, everybody that's on the chat. Peter, Cam, and I would love to read all your. I'm sure Peter too would as well. We would all love to read your math-related jokes as we are one to go right now.
Yeah, going through turns 3 and 4, and we'll see how these two drivers at the front are able to get going once again. It's kind of like a replay of the last restart before AJ smacked the wall and gave the lead to Dave Wilson, but Dave Wilson does not get going very well. AJ gets a jump into turn number 1. He's able to clear the 20, and that does spell not very good for Dave Wilson, but he gets a good run through 1 and 2, able to see if he can make a move into turn 3. Yes, he does. He peeks his nose on the inside, but I don't believe he'll have the momentum to do anything with it. And actually, as I say that, he's side by side with AJ Bigby down the front stretch, not able to get the lead by 14 1/1000ths of a second. But I think turns 1 and 2, he should have the advantage there. Very close there off turn number 2. Trouble behind him. Kyle Zimmer. Kyle Zimmer around on the backstretch, and I don't believe there was any contact there. He looks like he just got loose.
Did he drive it in too deep? Or did he give it too much beans? He gave it too much beans!
I'm going to go ahead and say that turn 2 is not Kyle Zimmer's ally tonight.
It's not a lot of people's ally tonight.
And if you're booing me in the chat, then you should. That was a bad pun.
Oh, I get it now. Man, I'm slow in the math jokes. I can't do math correctly, and I'm slow in here too. It's just not my day.
Yeah, I think you need to just go and take a nap after the race, Carlos.
I tried to take one. I tried to take one before the race, but I was actually watching the real life race, and I guess that's what happens when I skip nap time.
Well, good thing for you, we don't have a 3-wide race night, so.
No, we don't. I'm going to be watching the NBA Finals, seeing what happens tonight, and then going to sleep early.
Yeah, have the whole community pulling for Toronto, so that's
Does that also
pretty good.
include you?
Yeah, kind of. I gotta say, I'm pulling for Toronto. It'd be cool to see them win.
Yeah, I would also like to see them win. But I'm just.
I was also heavily invested in the Stanley Cup. Still am. I was hoping that my team would win the other night because that would have given them their first Stanley Cup. But they lost to Boston 5-1, so kind of got destroyed. But
that was Game 7, or are we going to Game 7?
That was Game 6, so we're going to Game 7 now.
All right. When is Game 7?
I believe I want to say it's like Wednesday or something. I'll have to go ahead and check on that. But go Blues, by the way.
That means we'll be broadcasting, and you will not be watching the NBA. Not the the NHL.
Yes, Wednesday at 8 o'clock, and they're playing in Boston. So go Blues. Hopefully they can do something, and if they can, you're going to hear a very happy Cameron on the broadcast of the Wednesday race. And if they don't, then you're going to hear a very happy Cameron who's going to move on with his life because sports aren't everything. Yeah. Yes, I'll drown out my problems with alcohol or something after the race. But either way,
current update for those.
I'm just happy they made it.
Current updates for those that are watching this race and not the actual Cup race. I believe there was a caution with about 5 to go, and they're going to be doing green-white checker.
I actually have not watched a lap of the Cup race, and actually have not watched a lap of really any races this year.
I unfortunately had to miss one race, but I've been watching all of them. You know, it's not the same racing, but I'm just the type of person that enjoys just watching in general, so I don't really mind. I would prefer it to go back to how it was before, but I'm okay with it. I'm just happy watching anything. As we currently have 45 laps to go, we'll be restarting more than likely with 43 laps. I think the 20 probably has the better car between him and the 14. It just depends on the type of luck that both of these drivers have. It could be a victory to Christopher Burge. It could be a victory to Kevin Paskowicz. It could be a victory to Billy Wise. All these drivers are on the lead lap. And if circumstances go their way, they can find themselves in victory lane tonight, even though the 20 and the 14 have the faster cars.
Yeah, man, that's the thing with short track racing. If those two drivers get into each other or something else, one of these other drivers can definitely take the win. I saw that in the car store race at Langley the other night, and the driver who won the race led about 100 feet of it. But either way, Patty's car is in once again. See Dave Wilson on the inside line for the first time this night, I believe, since the start of the race. AJ Digby on the outside line. He's going to drive it off into turn number 1. Side by side with Dave Wilson, see if he can get the run off turn number 2. And yes, he does. Look at that run for AJ Digby. One of the best runs we have seen out of turn number 2. See if he can clear Dave Wilson into turn 3. No, he can't. We have a driver up near the wall. That's Billy Wise. Able to keep it out of it. He's lose a spot or 2. AJ Digby still hanging tough on the outside line. That's an absolutely good run. Look at huge wreck in the back.
That's a killed race car.
Went absolutely straight head on the wall. He did not. Pasco did not collect $200, and that car is absolutely not alive anymore, like you said. Huge accident for Kevin Paskowicz there. Not sure what happened to him. We'll see right here.
It caught.
Looks like he just lost it, and hooked, and there we go.
He drove it in there a little bit too hard. Car, as he was trying to save it, the car gained traction, and it ended up being the end of that car, I believe. I think he does have the horsepower or the engine to drive it back fair road, but he definitely needs a fast repair should he still have one.
Yeah, that was a typical get loose and hook to the right once the tires get grip. Once again, type accident, and very good that car was able to actually get back to the pits. We do have 2 cars still multiple laps, or we do have 2 cars still laps down. Nate Catilla back to 1 lap down. I believe he should be on the lead lap now. We'll see if that does happen. And yes, he is coming around.
Yeah, there he goes.
Field right now, so move him back to the lead lap. He's going to be another dark horse if he can keep his car straight and out of the wall.
Is he out of faster? I've noticed that his car has been heavily damaged for these last X amount of cautions. I really hope that's not the case, but it seems like he may be out of fast repairs. So it's good. Either way, it's good to see Nicotilla 3 laps down. Now he is back to being on the elite lap.
Absolutely, always good to see that, and you know, he might have been just saving his fast pairs for the end of this race. We have seen drivers do that before. You know, it is a strategy move to keep faster pairs for the end of the race, especially at a track like this, like short tracks and stuff like that. You know, always good to have the most you can at the very end, just in case anything goes wrong or wild or whatever.
So let's see if maybe we can quickly give a conversation to AJ Digby. Cam, would you be okay talking to him?
Absolutely, I will go ahead and line him up here in just a moment. AJ Digby, this is Cam right up in the booth. Get a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right, man. Well, you are in the lead right now. Made that awesome move around the outside of the 20, and you have led most of the laps tonight. Kind of just tell us how the track is and tell us how the car's feeling for you.
Yeah, I got a great car. Nighttime, it's real grippy right now. Inside lane is definitely preferred, but as long as you don't overblow your corner entry, you can kind of roll that top line and be able to hold them from running up off the corner and possibly be able to get a good run. But inside's definitely preferred. And so far, we've been able to stay up and out in front, away from all this trouble so far, and hopefully can continue that and hopefully end up with a pretty good finish here at the end.
All right, how you gonna hold off that 20?
No idea. He is definitely very fast, and as I just proved, you can pass on the outside, so you never really know what can happen. The previous time I had left the inside open, which is how he got around me, so try to defend that a little bit more, but all in all, definitely some really fast cars out here tonight and just trying to do the best I can.
All right, AJ, well, those pace car lights are off, so you're going to be going green in just a moment. Good luck the rest of the race, bud, and hope to talk to you again.
Oh, I moved it by accident.
All right, Carlos. Well, all right, Carlos. Well, thank you very much for that. But either way, we are about to go green. As I just said, those pace car lights are off, and he's going to be pulling into the pits. He or she, I don't know if the pace car driver is female or male. We're just going to go ahead and say the pace car driver. Pulling into the pits right now. We'll see how AJ can get going here on this bottom side, and that 20 on the outside of him in that Jeff Gordon machine. And green flag is out. Looks like AJ got a pretty good restart. He's probably going to be able to clear the 20 in turn one. We'll see how he's able to do that. You see those bumps on the bottom side of that racetrack, that race car hobbling right over those, but he's able to get a good run off turn number 2 and clear Dave Wilson down the backstretch. And still, side by side. Dave Wilson got a good run off turn number 4, was able to get beside AJ Digby, and here comes the 98 Christopher Burge, a dark horse for the race tonight. He's been very fast, as well as Alan Capers. Not talked about him too much today. Got into some trouble early on this race.
Oh.
Ooh, trouble almost for AJ Digby. Got very tight in turn 4. He's going to actually be under fire from both Christopher Burge and Alan Capers, but almost contact there with Roberge and Digby. But Roberge has moved himself up to the second place. Trouble behind them. Looks like 2 cars have spun around. Alan Capers and I believe Alan Capers and it looks like the 25 of Kyle Zimmer both getting in some trouble there. So we'll have to see what happened here on the replay.
Oh, that actually may have been 2 separate incidents.
Yeah, looks like both drivers trouble off turn 2, and that's been the theme all night. Just turn 2 is the absolute killer corner for all of these drivers.
That gave some, pardon me, hidden puberty there. That gave some damage to the 17. 13 and 25 both pretty much got loose at nearly the exact same time. Both resulted in having damaged race cars. Now we, on that final restart, we saw the 20 continue to get, or retain the lead from the 14. As the 14 has started to struggle, as the 14 is now down Pier Road. So far, the top 4 have decided to stay out. Everybody 5th on back is currently in Pier Road, including the 25 Kyle Zimmer, Billy Wise, Adam Capers, Nick Attila, and Brian Lowhead. Johnny Berardi got his lap back. He is currently 1 lap down. So next caution, should he not be involved, he should get himself back in the lead lap.
Yeah, absolutely. And AJ Digby, of course, coming down pit road, He's probably thinking that this might be one of his last pit stops of the race, just trying to get some new tires on the car to try to have the advantage over the 20 of Dave Wilson. And like he said, that 20 is very fast and did start on the pole, so he's going to have his work cut out for him.
Let's go see if we can actually try to talk to David Wilson. And then we bring him on board so you can interview him. Unless I'm blind, he's actually not in the iRacing in the team speak, so we will not be able to talk to him. Instead, let's see if we can talk to second place Chris Roberge.
We actually do have Dave Wilson. He was in a different channel.
I guess I am blind.
I'll move him in here. All right, Dave Wilson, this is Cameron Rich in the booth. Get a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
All right, well, you've had a pretty good battle all night with the 14 of AJ Digby, and looks like you've gotten the better of him a few times. He's gotten the better of you a couple times. Kind of, what are you expecting for the rest of this race? How are you going to beat that 14?
It's more so just trying to race as hard as I can, keep in front of them at this point. I know that seem to be a bit faster on the outside than most people, so I try to use that to my advantage as most as I can. The inside is definitely a better choice if you have the track to come on the outside. Whenever coming out of a corner to go back to the outside, otherwise the outside is definitely the best option.
Absolutely, but real quick before we let you go, and I believe pace car lights should be going off right here. No, they're not. Yes, they are. So, how's the car feeling for you tonight, and how's the track feeling?
Yeah, I edited the setup as much as I could with what we got with the fixed setups. You can edit a little bit, and I changed a few things to try to give me some more advantage in braking and just turn in general. So the car's feeling really good right now, and I hope that it continues to be as good as it has been all race.
All right, Dave. Well, good luck the rest of the race. Hope to talk to you again after, and go do what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. Well, heard it from the man himself. Just thinks he's very good on the outside line, and indeed he is. He's got his teammate to his outside right now, so very good position to be in. And pace car is off. We're going green right now. Flagman waving that green flag, and we do have a flagman now in iRacing. So it's very cool to see. But side by side in turn one, looks like Dave Wilson's going to easily take this position. We have some shuffling in the back of the field, some cars up the racetrack, but everybody able to keep it straight. Dave Wilson has a couple car length lead over the new second place driver, Kevin Paskowicz, but here comes AJ Digby, absolutely flying right now. He's going to take second from about the 6th position. Yes, he is. He's actually taken second quite easily and have a caution once again. And the good news for Dayton Kendall, he's actually not flipped over this time, so able to get going once again. We'll see what happens here on the replay. Battling side by side with 13. Rode on board with him for just a moment, show him what happened in that wreck. He did not see much because the contact was from behind, but either way, like we said, did not flip over this time, so that is a good piece of news right there. And I do believe that we should have all the cars on the lead lap right now. Johnny Berardi should be getting the lucky dog, and we're going to have all 11 cars in the race on the lead lap.
He's not being waved. Yeah, he is. So that will put every driver back in the lead lap now. Cam, I honestly cannot remember this, but how many times has a race finished with every driver on the lead lap here in this league?
I actually have absolutely no clue about that. I would venture to guess maybe never.
I would also throw in that guess. Typically, there's at least one driver who would find himself in early trouble or find himself without any fast repairs. I do know that every driver has finished a race before, but everybody has finished on a lead lap. I really don't think that's happened.
And it would be something absolutely incredible if that were to happen tonight at a short track. I was actually watching the 4 of Nate Catilla come down pit road, and he did get his fast repair finally, so I think he was just saving them for the end of this race. And move on that, because he has been upside down a few times and has been turned around a few times. So maybe,
that is a very nice looking race car, so it would have been a shame for the car to finish the way it looks.
Absolutely.
So currently we have 23 laps to go. More than likely next time by will be 1 to go with 22 and be restarting with 21 laps to go. The way it's been going, let's go ahead and take a look at the current race details. We have had 13 cautions for about 58 laps. I do expect there to be at least 1 or 2 more cautions, but hopefully we can get this race and finish under green. Should we go into a green-white checkered, I believe the league has instituted a 3 and done rule, so 3 attempts at green-white checkered before the race could be finished under yellow.
Now let's take a moment to quickly run down the field before we get going green here. Currently your leader is number 20 of Dave Wilson. He did start in the first position, followed by AJ Digby, who started second. Kevin Paskowicz is third. Christopher Burge is fourth. Kyle Zimmer fifth. Alan Caper is sixth. Fernando Matos seventh. Billy Wise in eighth. Nick Catilla ninth. Brian Lowhead in 10th. And Johnny Berardi, who just got his lap back, is now in 11th place. We should be getting going green here in just a moment. Yes, our pace car lights are off, so getting down to the very end of this race is going to be very important for these drivers to get all the positions they can. Track position is at a premium right now. You really need to get yourself in a position to win if you're looking to do that. But look at that restart. AJ Digby gets a very good restart on the outside line. He's going to be side by side with Dave Wilson into turn 1. We've seen him drive it off through that corner very hard before. See if he can make the move on the outside. Yes, he can. He gets a very good run through turn 2. Down that backstretch, see if he can clear the 20. No, he can't. But if he can keep that momentum through 3 and 4, he might be able to have the advantage. No, he can't. Here comes Dave Wilson back on the inside line, but I don't believe he's going to be able to clear him. Very, very good racing up here for the lead, and we are coming to about 20 laps to go. Yes, we are. So these two drivers have been the class of the field so far, and it's going to be a battle of speed between AJ Digby and Dave Wilson.
The 20 of David Wilson knows without a doubt that AJ Digby has a really good run in here to the corners, and there are times where he can literally jump up in front of the 14 and cut him off, but that also adds in the risk of making unnecessary contact and the risk of allowing the 14 to go to the inside. The 20 car, even though the 14 get a good run the outside and get to his outside, isn't capable of passing the 20 the way it is unless he gives the 14 the inside, which he's doing right now. So the 20 was I guess he was doing his best.
Ooh, trouble!
Oh! Caution is out.
That was the 98 Christopher Burge. Christopher Burge and somebody else was involved, but I believe they've already driven away. I saw 2 cars shoot towards the inside wall on the backstretch. We'll see what happened on the replay here. There's Christopher Burge right there, who was the main car involved. I believe that's Fernando Matos, maybe Alan Capers. Fernando Matos actually got on 2 wheels for a moment, but was able to drive away. While Chris Burge got punted into the inside wall, but able to keep it going. Not too much damage on the race car, but he's going to want to take a fast repair anyway.
So from what we probably saw, it looked like the 13 made some contact with the 17, and that's in the 17 up to the 98. But we'll see if the 13 got any additional damage. Yeah, 13 just came down slightly. If the 13 does have damage, it's probably minor. And I don't think the 13 will need to pit in for that. But we are seeing currently 4 drivers on pit road: Kyle Zimmer, Kevin Paskowicz, Christopher Burge, and Johnny Berardi. Every driver is in on the lead lap, so that's good for them. As we mentioned earlier, it was cataloged. Currently, it's a battle between the 20 and the 14. I honestly, at this point, I'm thinking that these guys may just end up killing their chances at winning the race. The victory may come whoever's in third place on that final restart. or whenever they make contact, it could either be 13 of Alan Capers or Fernando Matos or Billy Wise. Because at this one, I just think the 20 and the 14 are going to outrace themselves and either end up wrecking themselves or get to a position where third place driver goes by them.
That definitely is a possibility. We have seen that multiple times between these two drivers. Nonetheless, Dave Wilson and AJ Digby have gotten into each other a few times. So, definitely short track racing is full contact. And I don't think either of these drivers are going to want to give an inch on the racetrack. So definitely, that would spell good news for both those two drivers behind him, Alan Capers, Fernando Matos, as well as anyone else involved or behind them if they get involved themselves. So it'll be something to definitely see. We're coming down to, I believe, 14 laps to go. So
13.
It is absolutely go time.
Yes, it is. I got to take care of a couple of technical issues. So Cam, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, we're doubled up for this restart. This could be the final one of the night. It probably will not be. We'll probably see another caution before the night is over with. Getting down to the nitty-gritty end of this race, and it definitely will be a battle of two very fast drivers, AJ Digby and Dave Wilson. We'll see if they actually do exactly what you said, Carlos, and get into each other. But green flag is out. AJ Digby gets a fantastic restart on that outside line. Dave Wilson actually spun the tires a little bit. He was actually almost under fire from huge wreck in the back, and it looks like everybody's wrecking behind these two leaders.
Huge wreck. Caution is out.
Not sure who was actually not involved in that. Looks like most of the field actually was involved in that. So let's see what happened there.
In the 32 made. Oh wow, there was actually a second incident there. I don't know if you were able to catch at the very tail end. There seemed to be a second incident. I didn't see the driver. Let's go back and see if we can find out exactly what happened.
I think it was the 66 of Lowhead. Yeah, it was the 66 of Lowhead who was right there in front
it looked
of,
like
I believe.
he missed a gear or something.
Yeah, just got got pitched right into the wall and absolutely destroyed there.
So on board the 98 who did get involved in at least that very first part of the incident. I'm not sure what happened in the second part. So the 7 makes contact, 98 makes contact with them, then you see the 13 spin out, 17 spin out, and looks like the 98 may have been fine there. But a lot of drivers did get involved in this incident. We'll be restarting in the single digits, so this is when it's go time. The race is almost over. At this point, you cannot afford to have a mistake.
And of note, actually, AJ Digby was able to get around Dave Wilson. He was about a nose ahead of the 20 when the caution came out. So, definitely these two drivers are going to be down to the very end of it.
Currently, it is 10 to go. The real-life race has already ended. The winner has already been determined. But a winner has yet to be determined here tonight. And while the 14 is currently leading the race, the 20 the 20 might have the faster car compared to these two, but it's close enough where it probably won't be much of a difference. That being said, if they make a mistake, it may not be up to them to see who wins the race. It could be 32 of Billy Wise is currently in third. Could be the 4 of Nick Attila who's in fourth. Could be Kyle Zimmer who was running up front part of the race before getting stuck and actually not having a very Kyle Zimmer-like day. He's kind of been struggling ever since he lost, ever since he wasn't running up front in the first part of the race. As we are currently at 1 to green. We're going to be starting with 8 laps to go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be new third place driver, Billy Wise, who we saw have his share of issues tonight, as well as that number 4 of Nick Attila has been on his roof twice tonight. So I think if these two drivers, AJ Digby and Dave Wilson, get in trouble, we might see a driver that flipped over twice in the same race maybe take home the victory, or maybe get a podium. That would be good enough. But definitely a good comeback for both of those drivers behind these two dominant cars. The pace car is off. The leader is AJ Digby. We'll see if he's able to get any gap on Dave Wilson. I think Digby has been the better restarter for most of the night, so he's going well. Dave Wilson's going well, and Digby has the advantage through 1 and 2. Some trouble. Dave Wilson almost lost it once again. Shades of the first lap of the race.
Not
To keep it going straight.
32 gets tight.
And a lot of drivers that are out of the groove in turn 3 and 4, so I think the race absolutely between these two drivers, Digby and Wilson. The new third place driver, Kyle Zimmer, who you just talked about not having a very Kyle Zimmer-like night, was able to come back from some issues and get himself up to the third place. We're going to focus on the battle here for the win. AJ Digby and Dave Wilson, these two drivers very close together on the racetrack right now. We'll see if bumpers do come into play. And certainly right now, it looks like the faster driver is Dave Wilson. He's making a move on Digby on the outside. We'll see if he can do something. We've seen Digby have trouble off turn 2 before.
Oh, wrecking behind! Caution is out. We're more than likely going to go into a green-white checkered.
And Alan Capers getting some trouble off turn number 4, and Kevin Paskowicz involved as well. So pretty exciting for me. I actually have not seen a green-white checker in iRacing yet, so if we can see that tonight, that would be pretty cool.
So heavy damage for the 7, heavy damage for the 13. Let's go back again. I believe the 7 went wide with the 17, and that caused the 7 to get loose in the middle of the corner. Overshot it a little bit, made contact with the 17, got loose, headed to 13. Florida 32 also made contact. And that will bring out the caution. More than likely going to go in a green-white checkered. This will be the first time in 3-white TV history. So it'll be interesting to see. Our graphics package is not designed to have a green-white checkered, so if there is a green-white checkered text that should be displayed on graphics packages, it won't be showing on ours, so I have to look into that, because I just realized that maybe there is a graphic that we are not showing now. Hopefully it doesn't break anything in the graphics package, because now I'm starting to get worried. Now I'm starting to get worried that maybe this might break the graphics package. If that is the case, please understand that when it's a green-white checkered, it is as described. Green flag comes out, then it's the white flag, and then it's the checkered flag. So if green flag is out, just assume the next time by is one to go unless the caution comes out. Now let's see if we can actually bring in Jeff and see if they are doing the 3 and done type of strategy. All right, Jeff Schmidt, this is 3-White TV. We just have one simple question for you. Regarding the green-white checkers, which we're more than likely going to be seeing today, is it 1 attempt, 2 attempts, 3 attempts, or a limited amount of attempts?
We do 3 attempts here. We are going to go green-white checker when we go green here on our first attempt out of 3.
All right, Jeff, thank you so much, and we wish you good luck in the officiating parts. We'll see you after the race.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
All right, well, you heard it here from the boss man himself. It'll be the first attempt at a green-white checkered. So, Dragon Zeron, we are not forgetting the burnouts. This one will be a green-white checkered. The last one was not. So let's just hope it doesn't break anything on the graphics. It says 1 to green.
And if it does,
it doesn't. All right. Oh no, maybe it did break the graphics. It was fine for like 2 seconds, and as soon as I regained all composure, it decided to break. So it is not the final lap, everybody. We're currently, can I hide this? We're currently on 1 to green. Okay. Good thing I have some manual control. Currently 1 to green. That's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do.
yeah, we'll actually have 2 laps to go at the restart, but this is 3-White TV's first green-white checker, and it'll be something to watch. Pace car is off. See how these 2 drivers at the front, these 2 have been the dominant all night tonight. AJ Digby, as per usual, has gotten the better restart. He has the inside line, so we'll see if he can get the good run off turn number 2. No issues for the rest of the field just yet. If he can make it back around to the white flag, it will be an official race. Looks like trouble behind. Kyle Zimmer sideways.
Caution is out.
Caution out once again, so we will go to another green-white checkered.
So please ignore the fact that it says finished. The race is not finished. We are still under caution. All right.
So we'll have to go back and watch and see what happened on the replay, but the 25 of Kyle Zimmer getting into some trouble, but I believe that the wreck happened a little bit behind him because Kyle Zimmer actually saved the car. I believe it has to do with the 17 of Fernando Matos. He is quite damaged and off the pace right now.
So
I
on board
believe he
here
was the
from
one
the
that went
restart.
around.
Let's go ahead and take a look at exactly what happened from the restart.
Yeah, there's Kyle Zimmer and Fernando Matos right behind him, so that's absolutely where the wreck started and happened.
Oh wow, both of the drivers.
Both of them got sideways, and Fernando Matos unfortunately just ran out of room, saved the car, got up in the wall, and the car just kind of came to a rest right there, and not much he could do about that one.
I think they are being shown with the 1 to green. Yeah, this is a very, very quick caution. It could just be that maybe when it's a green, white.
Oh, what?
Okay, pace car's off.
20, Dave Wilson got spun around, and what
Something's going
is happening?
on. They're waiting. Is it over? It's over.
Oh, okay. Well, we're confused up here in the booth. I guess they only had one green, white checkered or something?
Might be the case.
All right, well, excuse us for the confusion up in the booth. We don't know what's happening either.
It could be that maybe there was an issue with iRacing with the room that was made. We were told it was 3 attempts, and that was only 1 attempt.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was absolutely the case. Of course, that would be the only explanation. But excuse us for the confusion. We don't know what happened, and I'm sure they don't know what happened either. But either way, AJ Digby is your winner tonight here at USA, and really was the dominant car all night. Had some tough competition from the pole sitter Dave Wilson, but not able to really do anything there. Apparently, not enough chances to get the green-white checkered out of the way. But either way, there's AJ Digby sitting in the victory lane.
Maybe the white flag was out right before the caution came out. I'm not quite. I mean, the caution was thrown for sure. Tip before the build. Hold on, let's go ahead and play the kazoo sound effect. Congratulations to AJ Digby on winning the race. Before the build, there would not be a caution under 1 to go, just because iRacing didn't throw one. I don't know if maybe with the new build there can be a caution thrown with 1 to go, or maybe it was just an issue with the way the room was created, or just an issue on iRacing itself. From what I've been hearing so far on the iRacing forums, there hasn't really been an issue with the green white checkers. I haven't been seeing people complain about them or anything, or maybe it could just be a one-off thing. But we'll see. Let's go ahead and see if we can talk to Chris Roberge first. Cam, let's see if we can talk to him.
And I've got him right here. Chris Roberge, Cameron Rich up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right, man. Well, you were kind of a dark horse tonight. Really, you started in the 8th position, ran really solidly top 5 all race, minus some incidents that you were involved in. But probably one of the faster cars up there. But either way, take us through your night.
Well, I love this track. It's fun. It's just a lot of braking heavy on certain corners, and then you really have to feather around the exit and all that, so you don't lose control. There's a couple that happens to 2 people already. Dave, my teammate Dave, and Kyle did that same thing. Just got loose on exit. All I did is just kind of feather through it and gun it.
Yeah, that is something we saw all night tonight, just cars loose off exit. So you're saying you didn't have a problem with that?
Nope, I had no problem. There might be a little slight wiggle out there before entering, but just take it really, just let it go when it's feathering like that. It's doing a little fist chilling on me, but I just still hold it onto the ground and still go.
All right, well, this is a very good run for you. finishing right behind your teammate, and I want to see on the schedule here. Next Monday we go to Talladega in the trucks, and you do have a win at the Super Speedways this year already. So how are you looking forward to that one?
Hopefully my teammate and I will just go for 1-2 finish again.
All right, man. Well, congrats on finishing third. As always, before we let you go, we're going to give you a chance to give some shout-outs to people you want to thank and all that stuff.
Yes, thank you for adjustment for doing this SimPossible for us. It's great for that. He did it for our hearts, so that's good for him. Thanks for you guys for hosting, doing the broadcast for us. Thanks, and thanks for my wife for supporting me to watch this race. And thanks for Carlos for sponsoring me on this car here, the Rooster Teeth. Thanks.
All right, awesome stuff. Yes, appreciate you talking to us as always. Congrats on finishing third once again, and hope to talk to you again next week, bud.
Oh, you will.
All right, that was your third place finisher, Christopher. Let's see if we can find Dave Wilson in the broadcast booth. All right, Carlos is having some issues, technical issues, so we'll just go ahead and go to the second place driver himself, Dave Wilson. Camera Rich up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right, man. Well, we talked to you right before those last few restarts, and definitely had the speed tonight to get the job done. But looked like for some reason there was only one green flag or green light checkered. So kind of just talk us through what happened there.
Yeah, coming to the end at whenever me and AJ were in turn 4, the caution, the guys were wrecking behind us, but we still got the white flag beforehand, and that's how it kind of goes on, is once you get the white flag, then there's no more cautions. So unfortunately we weren't able to have another restart or two, but it was still great racing for the green flag racing that we did have, and I'm gonna congratulate AJ for that win, because that was a hard fought win, and it was some really fun racing whenever we were up there fighting for it too. It was overall a really good race though for everybody. I mean, we did have a couple mishaps here and there, but it was usually just 1 or 2 cars spinning at a time, and you can't really do too much to get it of the way on a short track either. So I don't really blame the amount of cautions we had. It's definitely a tough racing in general on a short track, and it's definitely kind of something that I'm a bit better at. But it was awesome racing by everyone in general, and I don't know how these guys do it sometimes. It's just some crazy racing out there.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed, you actually were the first to do it tonight, and it definitely were not the last, but off turn 2 there, it looks like the car was very loose off the corner, and we saw a lot of drivers do exactly what you did on the first lap of the race. Was that something that ever got better throughout the night, or was it just something you had to drive through?
Just on the edge of drive through. I think it's more so how much you're steering into the corner wherever you get on the gas coming out of it, and I definitely gunned it a bit too much coming out, and I thought that I was going to get clear of AJ, so I turned in a bit more, and the car just snapped to the left and couldn't really do too much after that.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it was more of a problem on the bottom side when you were under someone, so looked like that was a bit of an issue there, but either way, came home with a second place finish, and not able to notch a win in this side of the Monday series yet, but I do believe that one will be coming. But as always, thank you very much for talking with us. David, before we let you go, you got any shout outs for us?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys at the booth for making these, for streaming these races and commentating them every week. We all of us drivers enjoy going back and watching these races over and to see what happened, see some of the wrecks, and just see some of the awesome racing that happened here at the race. I'd also like to thank all the drivers that got out here tonight and all the viewers as well. It's just, without all of these people, it would not happen. Like, SimPossible wouldn't be a thing, especially the Jeff Schmidt as well, the owner of the league. It's definitely some great racing that we get here every single week, and sometimes twice a week, and it's just unreal racing with all these guys, especially with the battles that they do got to struggle with outside of the sim. So it's definitely a well put league, and I enjoy running it every week.
All right, Dave. Well, once again, thank you so much for talking with us, and congrats on finishing second place, and your team News Racing. Congrats on a good second and third, rounding off that podium spots. But hope to talk to you. Okay, words, Cameron. Hope to talk to you again next week, bud.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, we'll see if we can find our winner here. I believe Carla's still seeing some tech issues, so we'll just go over here real quick. AJ Digby and Rich up here in the booth. You got a copy once again?
Yes, I do.
All right, well, you are a winner tonight, and I believe you are the first two-time winner of the K&N side of things. Yes, you are getting the win at Atlanta. Actually, no, that is trucks. I'm completely stupid today.
Thompson, I believe.
Thompson, yeah, that's the right side of the series. So my apologies there, but either way, coming up with the win tonight, and you were kind of the dominant driver of the night, leading the most laps by a bit, I believe. So either way, kind of just take us through your night, kind of from the start to finish.
Yeah, I knew pretty much straight rolling off the hauler. I was pretty fast. My second lap of practice, I turned a really quick lap and then just kind of improved a little bit from there. Saw what kind of lines other guys were running and kind of blended them into my own to create the fastest possible for me. And then was able to just try to be smooth, run hard the whole night. Tried to stay out in front and not worry too much about tires because track position is so big at short tracks. But there were times where I had to go pit, and I felt like I made the right call strategy-wise to keep myself fresh tires and kind of good track position. And just had some great battles there at the end. Lots of cautions, great battles, and was able to kind of actually make that outside line work a couple times. And then all in all, at the very end of the green-white checkered, I was able to get to the front stretch where the white flag was displayed, and blessed to be able to walk away with this.
Yeah, one of the things we saw all night was a lot of drivers getting in trouble off turn number 2. Did you ever kind of, get that feeling that the car wanted to spin around?
My very first practice lap, it spun straight around when somebody else was up in the wall, so I tried to kind of keep it down off of the outside and spun it around. And so from that point on, I knew that could be an issue, and then reset, rolled out for the second practice lap, and ran a really fast lap. And so the whole race, I knew that could be an issue, and then seeing Dave do it also on the very first start of the race, kind of, I was trying to be a little bit extra careful, but at some point you just kind of got to go for it and hope that it sticks, and luckily it stuck tonight.
Absolutely. So like we said, first two-time winner on this side of the split series, winning at Thompson, not Atlanta. Well, you did win in Atlanta though, on the other side of things, so wasn't wrong there. But either way, next Monday we go back to the trucks at Talladega. How you look forward to that one?
Talladega is always interesting because anything can happen. I've always felt like I've been pretty good on those tracks, but again, anything can happen. So you never know there, and I'm a little bit more excited about Wednesday. We'll go to another short-ish track at Iowa with the B cars and get a little bit more short track racing in. I didn't know I like short track racing. I didn't realize I was doing this well at it, but maybe this is my forte, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of how it went for me. I was doing well at the short tracks, and I was like, I'm pretty good at the short track. So I like short track racing. Then I get punted, and I don't like it anymore. But either way, thank you very much for talking with us, AJ. Congrats on your win tonight. Before we let you go, give you a chance to give some shout-outs to people you want to thank and all that.
Yeah, so first off, you mentioned getting pitted. Huge thank you to everybody in this race, David especially. We had some awesome battling there. Pretty much the whole race, everybody that I was around, we never really had any contact whatsoever. So it was very clean racing around me. So thank you to everybody for putting on a great race. You guys for putting on the broadcast. I was watching a couple laps right before the interview, and I'm excited to watch the rest of it later. And then Jeff for putting on this great league, and then my cousin Kevin for the wonderful car that we were able to put in victory lane tonight.
All right, very awesome, AJ. Good to hear all that, but congrats on your win once again, and hope to talk to you again next week.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Cam, I apologize. I had to take care, not actual technical issues, but I had to take care of some business. Glad that all got sorted out. But as we're finished wrapping up with the interviews, we have one more interview to do, and that is the league owner, Jeff Schmidt. Jeff, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, Carlos. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, we got a bunch of things done today. We had the first ever green white checkered, and because we had the first ever green white checkered, I realized that my graphics package is broken when we do green white checkers. So I have been messaging the Thomas Morris, who does the fantastic work for Most Hero TV, that made the graphics package. Hopefully he'll get back to me within relatively soon, and we should hopefully have that fixed, or see if there's a solution to get that fixed, hopefully before the next race. If not, then we'll have to deal with it until either I can actually learn how to fix it, which might take a while, or see if he can get that fixed for us. But on that note, first green white checkered. It was a bit weird. I'm not exactly, since the graphics package was broken, we couldn't exactly tell what was going on. We thought there was going to be another attempt at a green white checkered, but you saw it from your end. What exactly happened there?
Yeah, so I thought so as well. So here's how it works, apparently. I thought that the leader would have to kind of pass the start-finish line in order for that next attempt to not work. You know, I knew that the white flag coming out, like the leader getting the white flag would call it. I knew that from a previous race that we did testing it out, but I thought that the leader would have to finish or pass rather, the start-finish line. Apparently, when the leader gets that white flag, or can see it, when the white flag waves, rather, then that's it. And so the leader tonight, he did not pass the start-finish line, but that white flag was displayed when he hit the front stretch. So apparently, if you're within X amount distance or whatever to that white flag, or rather when that white flag actually displays, that's what ends it. So it's going to take a little bit to figure that out, to exactly what it's going to be like at every single track. Being a short track, of course, that white flag comes out a little quicker. The guys got around a lot quicker. Mile and a half, some of the bigger tracks, I don't think that, I think we would have seen another attempt, obviously. Of course, it had that caution come out when it did anywhere else. But as far as I can see, and what I've gathered, is as soon as that white flag waves, it's over, and that's disregardless of or unregardless of whether the leader actually passes that start-finish line, which is the way I thought it was going to work. So we're all learning.
Yeah, no, that actually answers a couple questions I had before, even tonight. Because before the green white checkered build, there would not be any cautions when the white flag was displayed, because that would be the final flag. Once white flag is out, there would never be a caution. I've actually ended up benefiting from that a couple times in my iRacing career. But I see that now with the new build, it is possible to bring out a caution at least before the leader crosses pit road, before the leader crosses the start-finish line, while the white flag is displayed. But that's good to know. And also, in real life, it's not when the leader crosses the line; it's whenever the white flag gets displayed. So I guess that is accurate in the sense here as well in iRacing. So it was just a bit of a shocker to us, because we were unable to actually see anything due to the fact that the race was already being shown as finalized on our graphical end. And while the flags were working, it was a bit wonky because I had to use manual control to get them to display correctly. That being said, hopefully that can get fixed either next week or the week after that. So hopefully we don't have to deal with any green white checkers. I am at the moment not a fan of them as a broadcasting person until I get this thing sorted out. But other than that, it was a fun race to watch. I'm sure all these drivers had a blast. A little bit too much on the caution side, but from what we saw, it's a very hard track to handle, and the setup itself was already quoted as being difficult and loose off in the exit. That being said, we still got a lot of fun racing to watch, a couple of people beating and banging from each other. And we move on to Cam. Where are we going to on Monday?
Talladega.
And do we have a race on Wednesday? We should not, right? Because Xfinity
Iowa
does not. Oh, Xfinity. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we do have a race on Iowa. What is your thoughts on how those races are going to go?
Yeah, I mean, extremely different tracks. Talladega is Talladega. It's a favorite to many, and a lot call it kind of a crapshoot. You never know what's going to happen. You can lead every lap there, and leading doesn't matter until that last one. And that stands true for most tracks, but more so at the plate tracks like Talladega and Daytona, because literally leading that last lap might not be the place where you want to be. A lot of people call the second place the catbird seat, where you have that opportunity to make that pass for the lead at the end by slingshotting or having that draft behind the guy. So it's definitely a different kind of race. It's a lot, think of it like a chess match. You got to make the right moves at the right times. Of course, the Cup side package is almost like that anywhere now. You know, even those guys racing in the Cup Series today at Michigan in real life, they kind of turn that into mini Daytona. So those guys are experiencing that everywhere almost. But on the B car, we're going to see that only at the plate tracks still, thankfully. I know a lot of guys aren't really too fond of the new Cup package, so we're gonna race the Cup cars in 2020. Next year, we're going to be racing the Cup Series. So we'll see what package that has for us when we get to it. But as of now,
are you guys racing the current Real Life package or the iRacing last year package? Because you have those two options now.
Yeah, that's correct. We're gonna on our Wednesday night series, which is the Xfinity car now. That will move over to Cup next year, and it will be whatever package they're running, as well as the schedule. We're keeping accurate for our Wednesday series to be accurate with real life. So, you know, if they are still running this package next year, we'll have to figure out what iRacing has, what exactly we're going to do there. I personally am a fan of the old package. It takes a little more skill. The driver has a lot more input, having to brake into corners instead of full throttling around there as long as you can. A lot of people feel the same way. So we'll see what happens when we get there. You know, the new package could also help people out, though, in Cup Series with, you know, maybe not being the best at the Cup cars. And a lot of them say that they're really loose with the old package. So it could actually help people out as well. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens next year with that. But yeah, Talladega is going to be a blast. It's always a fun race. Those guys have a blast at Talladega, of course. Everyone does. It's fun. But you just never know what's going to happen. It gets super frustrating when you're making all the right moves and then you get involved in that big wreck. And then you go back to the back or don't finish the race or whatever may have you. It sometimes gets frustrating. But the guys do awesome. Tonight, of course, a lot of cautions, but it's short track racing. The setup was loose on exit. It was very loose. And, you know, these guys are good at adapting to different things. And it wouldn't be so bad if it gave you a little bit of a warning, but it was snappy loose, where you felt like it had grip, and then boom, just snap sideways on you. And, I mean, you and me both know that you can only be so good as a racer to kind of expect when that's going to snap loose. So they did a great job. Iowa is going to be fun. I expect a lot more grip at Iowa. Another short track style racing on Wednesday. And I think it's going to be a good race. I'm excited for it.
That's good to hear. So before we do let you go, do you have any shout-outs? Do you have any shout-outs to give?
Absolutely. You guys up in the booth there with 3Y TV, thank you so much for being part of this. Not only being part of it, but being part of it from the start. I believe tonight was our 54th race, and you guys have been there for all 54 of them.
We missed 2 of them.
Did you miss 2?
Yes, there was 2. One was, I believe, was a Halloween, and then another one because I was having car issues. But we've been there for most of them.
Oh, that was a while back, at least.
Oh,
and
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You've been there from the start either way. You know, missing a couple, whatever. You shouldn't have told me that. I would have thought you were there for all of them, man.
No, I was mentioned last week, and I kept quiet, but I was like, no, this isn't right. Everybody needs to know. I don't want to mislead people.
No, but as far as I'm concerned, I mean, you guys have just done a tremendous job of what you do, and the broadcast is always amazing to watch. You guys do awesome, man. From the camera angles to the commentating, we are blessed to have you help us out, and the guys love to watch these races after racing them, so thank you very much, myself included. I love watching them, and I mean, I sit here and watch the whole race when it happens, and then I go back and watch the broadcast too, so I get twice the fun. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for doing what you do. We wouldn't be what we are without you. We really wouldn't. So I got to thank the drivers, always showing up and having a great time. there sure is a lot of laughter in the chat, and it's great to know that these guys can relax and have some fun racing with us and kind of not have to worry about anything, just have a good time. And I always tell them, don't stress out, don't worry about nothing, because that's not why we do this. We do this to have a good time, and they sure are awesome, man. Every single one of our drivers are extremely awesome people, and I'm extremely proud of all of them, and I'm very proud to call them all a friend of mine. Thank you to their families who helped them out. Without some of their families, they wouldn't be able to do this and race with us. So, got to say thanks to the families to do what they do, to help out, to caretake. No matter what the circumstance may be, they're there for their families, and we appreciate it, man. We really appreciate them and what they do. It's not an easy thing to live with disability in the family. So, thank you so much, and we see out there everyone that watches the videos, man. Everyone that watches on YouTube, whether it be live or after. Thank you so much for the support of even watching. Make sure to, give a thumbs up, subscribe to 3 Wide TV. Our races will always be there. So, thank you so much. And if anyone ever wants to get in contact with me for any reason, you can email simpossible@gmail.com, and I will get that email right away, and I'll respond to you. Whatever it may regard, it doesn't matter. I'll get back to you. If you are a disabled driver that wants to join our league, go to simpossible.racing.com. Fill out a driver sign-up form, and we'll get you on track. Other than that, yeah, just really happy to make a difference in the world and to help guys out. And we sure have done a lot in our short time, and we're looking forward to doing much more in the future.
That's great to hear. We can't wait to get back on track with you guys on Wednesday. And on that note, let's go ahead and wrap up today's broadcast by going over the final results. Cam, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Absolutely. Well, you see it right there on your screen. AJ Digby, your winner tonight. And followed closely by Dave Wilson. Those two swapped positions from where they started. Digby started in second, and Dave Wilson started in first. Chris Burge with a good run, coming home in third after starting 8th. Kyle Zimmer, we said him not having a typical Kyle Zimmer night tonight, but coming up with a 4th place finish. Good run for him. Bailey Wise coming home with a top 5 after some issues. Nate Catilla coming home in 6th after being upside down twice in the same race. Alan Capers coming home in 7th. Kevin Paskovich 8th. Johnny Berardi was a lap down for about 95% of the race, coming home with a good top 10. Brian Lloyd coming home in 10th, and Fernando Matos getting some issues there on the final lap of the race, and coming home in 11th position. But that's all we got for you guys tonight. Some shout-outs to give from 3 Wide TV. Of course, SimTV for those cameras. Not tonight, but every other night they allow... some tonight, not you know what I mean. But... Yeah. Allowing us to show you guys some good angles and all that stuff to show this great league the viewership that it deserves and all that stuff. And of course, Thomas Morris for the graphics package from OCR TV. And all the chatters and all the viewers and all you that watch this stuff, like Jeff said, words are hard. Like Jeff said, of course, everybody who watches live and everybody who watches the broadcast after the fact, of course, you're the reason that we love doing this, and all the races and all the friends and family that come out to watch and all that stuff. It's just awesome to see all that kind of support. But I think that's all we got for you guys tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and say this since I forgot at the beginning. I'm Cameron Rich, and this is Carlos Costa, and you know what? You guys have a good night. Stay awesome, and tune back in on Wednesday.
One last thing, guys. Don't forget to buy a present for your father if it is applicable. It's still not too late. Don't wait till the last minute. All right, guys. You guys
good old socks and sandals.
You guys all have a good night.